good, y'all? A few days ago, I made a video about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, talking about how they were on the brink of getting swept by the Denver Nuggets. And here I am making the same video, this time about the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant, except they actually got swept. The Lakers, it was a gentleman's sweep. They got at least one game. KD and them, they got swept 4-0. And before I get into talking about the Phoenix Suns, I do want to give the Timberwolves their credit because sweeping a team is not easy, especially when they have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal on the other side. And the first guy I gotta bring up, man, Rudy Gobert. He may have had the best playoff series of his entire career. Honestly, I said he did have the best playoff series of his entire career, offensively and defensively. Before this series started, I know during the regular season, he was very shaky against the Suns because they do spread everyone out. They don't really have a true big man besides Jusuf Nurkic, so that kind of gets Rudy out of his comfort zone a little bit, you could say. And I had a in-depth conversation with one of my boys on Twitter because he was saying that the Suns were going to smoke the Timberwolves, that they're just going to pull Rudy out the paint and it's going to be GG's. And I was telling him, like, you know, just take a breath. It's not that easy. You can't just pull Rudy Gobert out the paint and, like, boom, you're going to guarantee score on that possession. And, you know, it's a little more intricate than that. But the Suns, they tried to do that. They tried to get Rudy out the paint, get him on switches, whether that's in the pick and roll or just through ball movement. They tried to attack Rudy on the perimeter, and Rudy held his own, man. Throughout every game of this series, when he was out there on an island, he held himself up. Whether it was, you know, he poked the ball away from KD a few times. That led to an open dunk for Anthony Edwards. Then in the space, just, you know, staying in front of a man, forcing a pass instead of a shot, or forcing a tough contested shot. Rudy Gobert played in space incredibly well this series. And then, of course, you cannot forget, it is Rudy Gobert, one of the best, if not the absolute best rim protector we've seen in this generation. So he's going to be deterring at the rim as well when he is down there, you know, holding down Nurkic, grabbing those rebounds. His rebounding was great this series. On offense, he was incredible, which is something you don't really hear about Rudy Gobert. But he was punishing mismatches. Whenever a smaller guy switched on him, he would take it to the rim and, you know, go up with it. Lobs, he was there. The pick and roll, he was great in. He had a few transition buckets, which is crazy to say about Rudy. He was really showing his ass this series, man. You could tell he was playing with a lot of confidence. And I wouldn't call myself a Rudy Gobert fan, but I definitely would say he is pretty underrated, overhated, doesn't get enough credit, whatever in that category you want to put him in. He's one of those things or all of them. So it is very fulfilling to see Rudy Gobert, you know, shut up all these haters. And then, of course, the other guy we got to talk about, Anthony Edwards, man. He was absolutely incredible this series as well. The #1 player in this series. He was the best player. And again, that's saying something when Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are also in this series. Throughout his first few seasons, obviously Anthony Edwards is known as a scorer. You know, he's going to get to the basket. He can get his shots off. He's going to score the basketball. But I have never seen him look this fluid, and I don't know if it's just because he's playing with confidence or aggression. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but he just looks like he knows exactly what he wants to do. The game has just, like, opened up for him. In these 4 games, he only had one poor scoring performance, and that's where he scored 15 points. Every other game, though, he scored 33, 36, and 40. And we know Ant is never a guy that lacks confidence. We saw him chirping at Kevin Durant throughout this entire series from Game 1 to damn near the last play of Game 4 where he dunked on him. He was playing with a lot of aggression, a chip on his shoulder. You could tell he really wanted it, and he was one of the most fun players to watch this first round. He played so well that people were talking about, is he the best shooting guard in the NBA? I don't know if I'm ready to do that just yet. I know, you know, the top 3 right now, I would say, is Ant, Donovan Mitchell, and Devin Booker. I know Donovan, he's been going through it a little bit since he had his hamstring injury. He has not looked good, and even in the playoffs versus the Magic, he really hasn't found his stride yet, so that could tank him down a little bit. Obviously, like I've just talked about, Anthony Edwards is having this incredible playoff series that's really rising him. But I got to keep D-Book at 1 right now. I mean, in this closeout game, I know he got swept, but he dropped 49, an efficient 49 too. Devin Booker, when he is hitting his shots, is one of my absolute favorite players to watch play basketball because his game is just so smooth. He's still #1 shooting guard, but man, Anthony Edwards is closing in at that 2 spot. Now to flip sides and talk about the Phoenix Suns. This was the most disappointing season I have maybe ever seen from a super team, if you want to call them that. Throughout the regular season, the big 3 struggled to stay healthy and stay on the court together, and when they did, they weren't the dominant big three that you would have expected. You know, I don't know about you guys, but when I made the video talking about the trade for Bradley Beal, I said that, again, it was a weird fit, but it would work out. You know, they have plus playmakers. All three of them are plus playmakers. They can obviously score at will. I thought that they built a decent roster of role players around these three. I thought this team would be good. I think I had them as the 3 or 4 seed out west before the season started. And they were nowhere near that. After they got eliminated, KD said in a press conference that he never felt comfortable in the offense with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, which is a weird thing to say for Kevin Durant, considering he is one of the most plug-and-play stars we've ever seen. We saw him just step into a team that just won 73 games last season and fit perfectly in their offense without even like any type of hiccup or anything. He just went there and straight hooping, won Finals MVP that season. You know, out in Brooklyn, guys in and out the lineup, he was there, he was hooping no matter who was next to him. And for him to say he never felt comfortable in the offense, I thought that was very, very weird. And I feel like this loss is an end of an era in 2 different ways. First off, I think it is the end of the super team era where teams just get 2 or 3 top tier stars that have big names and then just kind of fill the roster with like minimum role players around them. That is dead. We've seen it fail time and time again. The Brooklyn Nets is probably the most infamous one. I know they had their injuries and off-court stuff like that, but still really, really disappointing. The Russell Westbrook Lakers, that was super disappointing. Obviously now the Phoenix Suns as well. We're seeing teams that have more of a depth and chemistry, you know, players that fit together on the team. Those are the teams that are going far in the playoffs, winning championships and all of that. And I hope that we kind of just turn more towards that. And I think that this team is going to kind of mark that stamp. The last super team we really have in the playoffs is the Los Angeles Clippers. They're in a battle right now against the Dallas Mavericks, so we don't really know how that's going to work out. But I am hoping that this is the end of a super team. The other era that is ending with this loss, though, I am not happy that it's coming to an end, and that is, of course, the era of basketball that, like, we grew up on, or at least I grew up on. You know, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Steph Curry, those 3 combined for 1 playoff win this season. Just one. Like I said, the Clippers are still in there with Kawhi, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, all of those guys from the previous generation. But when you look at the rest of the guys that moved on in the playoffs, it's the new generation. You have Shea and the OKC Thunder, Anthony Edwards with the Timberwolves, Jokic with the Nuggets, out east, Jason Tatum with the Celtics, Jalen Brunson and the Knicks look like they're going to move on from these 76ers. Donovan Mitchell, Paolo Banchero, Tyrese Halliburton, all of these teams that look like they could move on are younger, up-and-coming, next-generation guys. And it is a little bit sad to see, but I'm excited for the next generation of basketball. I think we're in very good hands. Back to the Phoenix Suns, though. They are in a pretty bad spot right now, if we're being honest. They don't really have a lot of cap room. They don't have any of their own draft picks up until 2030. I don't even know how many are tradable, but they have very, very, very limited assets right now. And it's looking like they either got to run it back with a team that just got swept in the first round, or trade away some of their big pieces like Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. Bradley Beal is going to be almost immovable. I really don't see any team that is going to take on that contract, because I'm pretty sure he's owed like something crazy, like $160 million the next 3 years or something crazy. Those aren't the exact numbers, but it's still a lot of guaranteed money that he is owed. And I think that he's going to be on the Suns for the foreseeable future. They just gave Grayson Allen a pretty hefty extension. I do think that Grayson deserves it. He had an incredible season. You know, I don't think they overpaid him at all. But when you're strapped for money, you know, you got to look at all of these things. And when I think about if they trade Devin Booker, if they trade Kevin Durant, if they trade both of them, what is going to put their franchise in the best position to, you know, go on forward and win games and rebuild, or whatever they want to go in what direction. Obviously, Devin Booker has been a Phoenix Sun for his entire career so far, and it would be really, really nice for him to finish out his entire career there. We don't have a lot of one-team guys anymore. Right now in the league, I'm pretty sure it's just Steph Curry that's been on the same team for like 10 plus years. Oh, Steph Curry and Dwight Powell. Shout out to Dwight Powell. But still, you know, it would be cool to see Devin Booker just be a Phoenix Sun for life. Maybe D-Book doesn't want to do that, though. Maybe he wants to win a championship and move on. And, I mean, if you listen to Stephen A. Smith, he wants to come to the Knicks. As a Knick fan, I would love that. As a Devin Booker fan, I would love that. I even drew up this little trade right here if you guys want to look at it. It's basically Julius Randle, Bojan, and picks for Devin Booker. It would be cool. You know, I'm a big Julius Randle fan, and it would suck having Julius leave, but it's Devin Booker. What I think is more likely is they will trade Kevin Durant. I mean, I drew up this trade package right here to send him to OKC. That would be really, really fun. I would love that for OKC. The one thing with that is you see here they're getting more draft capital and young players, you know, guys that really wouldn't help D-Book and Bradley Beal win right now, which makes me think maybe they would trade them both. I don't know. It's a pretty, you know, unknown area right now. I'm not sure if D-Book would want to get traded or if the Suns would want to trade him. I don't know. They're in a very shaky spot right now. What do you guys think the Phoenix Suns should do, though? Should they trade D-Book? Should they trade Kevin Durant? Should they trade both? Should they trade none and just run it back? I'm not sure. If I had to say something, it would just as the you know, content creator that I am, I would love for them to trade both of them and shake up the whole league. That would be pretty crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.